How, then, are we to ascertain, without a doubt, the literal, real, or true meaning of the word Christ used when he used the word baptizo? Authorities on interpretation tell us that we have 5 sources of information. The first and highest is the usage of standard writers in the age that the author lived. The definitions we find in the lexicons are derived from this source. The second source are the definitions given in standard lexicons. The third source is the testimony of historians as to how the term was understood and the rite performed at the time it was instituted. The fourth source is the testimony of acknowledged scholars, and our last is the internal evidence, that is, the manifest sense in which the term was used by the author. The ultimate authority in ascertaining the real, literal definition of this word baptizo is its general use by the best writers and speakers of the language in which this word is found. This is the source from which the lexicons derive the meanings of words. The great and masterly work of Dr. T.J. Conant of New York is his book, Baptizo. In this book, he has given every passage in the Greek classical writers and early Christian writers in which the word baptizo occurs. He says they include all the words that have been found by lexicographers and by those who have professedly written on this subject, and these exhaust the use of the word in Greek literature. Let me summarize the conclusions laid out in my book, Baptizo. In 175 quotations from the Greek classics, I translate baptizo by immerse 44 times, submerge 22 times, immerge 15 times, dip 10 times, embathe 2 times, plunge 17 times, whelm 56 times, overwhelm 9 times. In 47 translations from the Greek and Latin fathers, I give buried in water 11 times, immersion 36 times. In 14 quotations from the Latin fathers, I give the meaning buried in water 3 times, immerse 11 times. Here, then, is a thorough investigation of all the classics, and not a single example is found in which baptizo means to sprinkle or to pour. What, then, is the conclusion of this investigation? The evidence presented sets the matter beyond all reasonable doubt that baptizo means to immerse. Let me stress my findings. Every Greek author uses the term in every instance in the sense of to dip, to immerse, plunge, submerge, and in not one instance in the sense of to sprinkle or to pour. What then must we conclude from this fact? That if Christ used baptizo in the sense the Greeks of his day used and understood it, he used it to signify to dip or immerse in water. It has this and no other meaning. These findings should dispel any doubt that baptizo can have any other meaning than to immerse. I checked 62 standard lexical authorities, and here is the conclusion. They all, without an exception, define baptizo as to immerse. Here is a list of those 62 standard lexical authorities set to music, and let me say, without data, you're just another person with an opinion. While we are on the subject of Greek lexicons, I would like to stress how Thayer defines baptizo. As of 1888, it is the latest and best authority. I want to point out that Thayer, himself a Pado Baptist congregational scholar, agrees with our premise that baptism is entrance into the visible earthly kingdom of God. Click on the link above and the one at the end of this video to learn more about the visible earthly kingdom of God. Here is Thayer. Classical Greek writers define baptizo as an immersion in water performed as a sign of the removal of sin. It is administered to those who, impelled by a desire of salvation, sought admission to the benefits of Messiah's kingdom. We have examined the two highest sources of interpretation regarding the Greek word baptizo. What is the result? All scholars, all critics, and lexicographers are agreed. In classic Greek, baptizo means nothing else but to dip, to immerse in or under the water. I would like to conclude this video with a presentation by Moses Stewart, a professor of 30 years in Andover Theological Seminary. Upon this subject, Professor Stewart gives us some words of wisdom that Bible students cannot be too unfamiliar with.
If the sacred scriptures be a revelation to men, then they are to be read and understood by men. If the same laws of language are not to be observed in this revelation as are common to men, then they have no guide to the right understanding of the Scriptures, and our interpreter needs inspiration as much as the original writer. It follows, of course, that the sacred Scriptures would be no revelation in themselves, nor of any use except to those who are inspired. But such a book the sacred Scriptures are not, and nothing is more evident than that when God has spoken to men, he has spoken in the language of men. For he has spoken by men and for men.